Hello pilots and welcome to MotionRC.com. Today is an overview on our Skynetic Mini aircraft. These are 3 warbirds that have started the series for us in the 800mm park size aircraft range. Now I want to go over in detail each of these aircraft for you today, kind of show around them and some of the components maybe you're going to want when you get one to actually get them in the air. Now as you can see in the lineup, we have 3 aircraft currently. An A1 Skyraider, really cool airplane that does not get modeled enough in my opinion. We also have a Hawker Tempest, very cool airplane that also does not get modeled that often. The paint job on this one is absolutely beautiful and I love the way this airplane actually flies. And finally we have a Corsair. Now everybody loves a Corsair. As you can see, it's got one of the prettiest paint jobs you could have had on there. Makes me think of Baba Black Sheep every time I see this little airplane. And I love it. So let's get down on the table now and really take an in-depth look at the A1 Skyraider to start off with. Now, this is one of my absolute favorite models. Really neat subject matter. They all fly excellent. If you're looking at just getting one out of the series, I highly recommend you start with the Skyraider because it flies so good. That long, straight Hershey bar wing really lends to the stability of this aircraft even in its smaller size. Now, each of the aircraft is going to come with an ordnance package right out of the box that is optional to use. All you do is glue on all of the rockets, bombs, and missiles if you choose to use them. Now, if you're going to do hand launch and belly landing and leave the gear off, I do recommend you don't glue those on. They might get broke off when you're skidding across the ground. Now, for all the flights here at MotionRC.com, I have the full ordnance package on, and we were using the wheels. So if you have a nice hard surface to take off and land from, the wheels are a great option, and the ordnance really looks good. The airplanes don't really get affected too much when you're flying with the ordnance on them. Now on the Skyraider, you're gonna see it actually has fully modeled exhaust, and all of the antennas around the aircraft are there. I mean, it is a cool looking little airplane that would even look good just in the corner of your office sitting on a table. Speaking of all those details, when you get down to the actual finish of these little models, the paint job is actually really nice right out of the box on these. Once again, could be used as just a display model if you wanted to put in the corner of an office. Speaking of the finish, you will notice that the decals around the aircraft are also pre-installed right out of the box for you. You don't have to worry about doing that yourself. These are all done for you. Powering the A1 Skyraider is a DST 1300 brushless motor. This is included right out of the box. It also has a 20 amp ESC with a JST connector. And if you're looking for a battery at checkout, the 1000 milliamp 3S 11.1 volt Admiral Pack is a fantastic battery that couples perfectly with this aircraft. Another really cool feature of all these little Skynetic Minis is they come with ball link clevises all around on the 4 servos that are included out of the box. Now for the price of this model, that's a really nice feature that was added to these that's really going to make them strong and last a lot longer. Now for the A1 Skyraider or any of the other models in this range, you're going to need at least a 4-channel receiver. Here at MotionRC.com, we now actually carry receivers for 3 of the most popular radio brands. We have our Lemon RXs that are compatible with DSM. We also have our Radtron receivers that work with Futaba, and we now have Radio Master also available here at MotionRC. All 3 of those brands are going to be perfect with these little aircraft, if whichever one you choose. Now, speaking of the radio and receiver, if we pop the hatch open on the A1, you're going to see it actually has a place right there behind the battery that is designed for your receiver to go into, and you can run a zip tie around your receiver to keep it firmly attached and installed into the aircraft. The battery bay is also ample enough to get your fingers in there, put the battery in and out, no issues there. Lastly, the A1 also has a steerable tail wheel. This is a really nice feature even on a small aircraft like this that you wouldn't think of as an option, but when they start getting this small, sometimes that doesn't happen. It's really nice whenever you're doing any kind of ground handling to have that authority of the tail wheel. So with that, let's get moved over to the next aircraft in the series, the Hawker Tempest. So this is the Hawker Tempest. Really neat airplane, like I said before, not modeled very often in the RC world. You know, normally it's a Spitfire that everybody wants, but it's kind of cool to see this aircraft get a little bit of love, and it's fun to finally have one to go out and fly with. Now, just like before, this has a beautiful finish out on right out of the box. Like I said, assembly is a breeze. We do have assembly videos for all three in the series if you're interested in it. Now, the difference up here on the front of this aircraft is we now have a spinner, but it does share that same motor, the DST 1300, off of the other aircraft. Same ESC and power system driving it, but it just has that different look up to the front, and you have that four-bladed prop that is very scale looking with that plastic spinner. Now, as we move back on the aircraft, you're gonna notice there's also the exhaust detailing done for you. You do get an included pilot figure that is all painted for you right out of the box. And once again, a full ordnance package on this aircraft right out of the box. Once again, that is optional whether or not you install it on your aircraft. It's as simple as gluing them on if you choose to use them. The landing gear are removable with only one screw. And on all three aircraft, the wing is actually removable with just one screw also if you need to do any type of maintenance or repair. The good news about this 800mm size is you really don't have to worry about taking them apart to get them in the car. These are pretty convenient as they are, so I don't see a lot of customers taking the wing on and off that often, unless they have a damage in a crash and need to replace a part. Now, just like the other models in the series, this one also has ball link clevises all the way around, making it nice and secure, and you're never gonna have an issue with one of those horns coming off in flight. Now, the battery bay on the Tempest is quite a bit tighter than in the Skyraider. It's not a problem, you can still get your fingers in there, no problem, but you need to use that same battery as before. The 1000 milliamp is about the biggest that I recommend getting in there. It fits perfectly, it CGs perfectly with it, and it's gonna fly great. Now, of the three models, I do say this paint job is probably my favorite. I love the invasion stripes on any airplane, but on this green aircraft with the invasion stripes, they really pop out in the sky. You can see the airplane extremely well, and it's just always fun to have invasion stripes on an airplane. So with that, guys, let's move into the last aircraft in the series. That is the F4U Corsair. So the Corsair is always a special spot in a lot of pilots' hearts. Everybody has to own a Corsair at least once. Now, this is a great place to start with it if you're newer into the hobby and just looking at getting into warbirds and you want something fun to chuck around in the backyard or a small park. This is the perfect airplane for it. Its 800mm size means that it's easy and convenient to get it in the car, but you still get all the details and beauty of a larger aircraft, even in these smaller sizes. As you can see, it comes right out of the box, completely painted for you in this beautiful paint job. I love all the decals they put on this aircraft right out of the box. It really looks just like one you'd see in an old World War II movie, and it really gives it a great appearance. The white on the bottom is very striking in the air, and you can see it no problem. And this is probably my favorite paint job that's come on any of the Corsairs here at Motion RC, and I'd love to see this in a larger version eventually. Now, as you can see up front, it does have a fully scaled out propeller. Even the prop hub is modeled on this aircraft, and it's still powered by that same motor that's running the other three. Now, as we move back, you will notice that the Corsair has the smallest battery compartment of all the aircraft. It's not an issue, you can still get the battery in there, but instead of just setting it in there, you do have to slide this one into the pocket. Funny enough, I don't usually run the Velcro in this aircraft. The 1000 milliamp battery is tight enough when I push it in there that just friction holds this one from needing to come in and out. Another feature this shares with the other models is it comes with a full ordnance package right out of the box. It is a little bit different, whereas you have the 2 drop tanks and then the 8 rocket pods out on the wings. But if you choose to use them, you just glue those on. If not, and you're gonna be belly landing, just leave them off. The Corsair also does have the removable wing, just like the other aircraft. So if you need to get inside and service any of your components, maybe strip a servo on a bad landing, you can get in there and change them out. And as always, we carry all the replacement parts for all 3 aircraft now at motionrc.com and motionrc.eu. The Corsair also has a steerable tail wheel, Once again, in the smaller size frame like these are, it's nice to have that little feature to help it drive around on the ground and at better ground handling on takeoff. Now, one thing I will warn you about, all three of these are running scale propellers. So whenever you go to take off, ease into the power on these. If you throw the power to them, they have a pretty nasty run off the runway whenever you do that. So just ease into the power, get the tail flying, then come up to full throttle and the aircrafts take off really nice. They're also always great to put a gyro in. When aircraft get smaller, gyros are great to get in these aircraft to help you with that ground handling. And on a windier day, they just make these smaller airplanes fly like bigger airplanes. And we do have a lot of gyro options available right here at motionrc.com. From our lemons that have them pre-built in, to our Hobby Eagle gyros, lots of options here that are gonna work in these little aircraft. Now, the last thing I wanna mention, no matter which aircraft you're picking up in this series, I can't recommend enough a good stand to put the aircraft in. And we do have these smaller Benchcraft stands available right now that you can put your aircraft in, work on it here on the table, take the wing on and off, that kind of stuff, and you're not gonna have to worry about damaging it while you have it in this foam cradle. Really cool. I highly recommend picking that up at the same time you're picking up one of these airplanes. It's fun to have a little stand when you go out to the field, set this on a table, and it'll hold the aircraft nice for you while you're taking your battery in and out, whatever else you can see. It's gonna hold that airplane nice and secure. So pilots, if you're interested in picking one of these up, don't forget you can get it right here at motionrc.com, or for our EU customers, motionrc.eu. And until next time, whether it's air, land, or sea, you can get it right here at Motion RC. See you in the next video, guys. Bye.